Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lounging with Lisa, the video series that has me lounging while coming at you with thoughts of the day. I just got out of the shower. I thought, my God, I cannot get in front of a camera without being somewhat clean. I don't know what Zoe's problem is. She keeps yammering and yipping and, I don't know, directing it toward me. I don't know what she wants. She has food, she has water, she has shelter, she has clothing. Who could ask for anything more? Who could ask for anything more? I wanted to tell you about, okay, I was going to call Rivero today. If I do, I have to call at 4 o'clock. But I don't think I'm going to. I'd rather just not. Because I have to moderate at 5. But Cat's so cute. God love him. My co-moderator, the man who got me involved in it. Much to the delight of some people. He emailed me the other day and he said, look, I'm going to start to focus on the actual content of the program that's unfolding. Rather than, get involved in the chat or, who's saying what or, that kind of, unless it's hideous or something, and then he would jump in. But what he was saying is, we'd like to sort of challenge Rivero a little bit. Just because we're moderators, I'm speaking for me. Just because I'm a moderator or tuning into a show doesn't mean that I agree with every jot and tittle, and some of the stuff is a little suspect. I don't know where he's getting his information or any of that, ladies and gentlemen, but I have to say, Mike Rivero, compared to a lot, his head's and shoulders above the rest. And I don't think he's purposely suppressing information or anything, although he does, from what I've heard, I guess I've seen it happen a couple times, but the people on the chat said he really doesn't admit to what they refer to as chemtrails, but I call, of course, aerosol injections or geoengineering, because those have been admitted to by our delightful government. So, yeah, I noticed that. He claims that it's like a jet flew across the air and then suddenly the trail behind it is pushed down, and it's, look, I've looked in the sky. All you have to do is go out and look. Go out and look, and you'll see, like, X's and tic-tac-toe patterns and whatnot. But it's the language we use, like I said before. Geoengineering, cloud seeding, aerosol injections. This is stuff that's actually been admitted. In fact, one of the state legislatures, I forget what one, somebody called, Rhode Island. I heard this last night. I don't remember my source. But somebody called into a different show. It might have been, I forget the name of it, darn. Somebody called in and they said in the state of Rhode Island that they got together with their state assembly to put some sort of regulations on the geoengineering situation with the aircraft doing geoengineering. So, in other words, okay. So, getting back to Rivero, like I said before, there are certain things that I'd like him to also talk about, like the Interstate cross-check that purged, like I think 7.2 million people on that list. And, saying that people cross state lines to vote. Okay, then let me just explain something to you. Have those people been tried and put in federal prison? Because that is a federal offense. To vote more than once is a federal crime. And I believe the sentence is generally 4 years in federal prison. So, where's the list of those people? Now, there was an 11-year study done. I think it was 11 years. Starting in 2000, if I'm not mistaken. I know 11 fits into this somehow. It's either 11 people. Okay. There was a study where they totally looked at all the voting irregularities, all the people that supposedly voted twice, all the names on the list or whatever. I believe they found 4 people in 11 years, ladies and gentlemen. Or it was 11 people in 11. The number 11 fits in somehow, but I can't remember what. It's an extremely low number. It's under a handful of people. So this idea that somebody who's poor anyway is going, like, for example, take me. I am not a wealthy woman by any stretch of the imagination. If it weren't for Perpetual, I would literally have to move in with my 90-year-old mother next door to be able to make ends meet. It's not like I'm lazy. I do work for a living. I've not had a raise since I started. One time I did, and then I don't even want to get into that because I'll get mad. But, yeah, I work. There is no way, if there was another Lisa Hauserman in the state of Ohio even, I would not be able just to go off and vote twice, ladies and gentlemen. And some of these people are registered in Florida and in Oregon or something. Like, do you really see that unfolding? Honestly, That sounds like a conspiracy theory to me, quite frankly. Is that, millions of people were somehow able to vote illegally. If you can explain it to me or point me in the right direction, I will happily look at it, and I will happily change my mind, because, my God, that's all I do lately is change my mind. If I'm presented with enough evidence, of course I will. I will change my mind. The real truth of the matter, though, seems to be, from my investigation thus far, is that people were prevented from voting. As soon as they gutted the Voter Right Act that came out in 1965, they gutted it. Recently, like in the last several years, 2016 was the first time to hold an election on for president with the Voting Right Act being gutted. As soon as they got permission to gut this damn thing, the states that were the biggest offenders with voter suppression sprung into action. They leaped like the FTD man and started to close down polling places or put in ID laws that were ridiculous. My co-moderator, Kat, has been purged from Hawaii. He cannot vote, ladies and gentlemen. This is the real issue. What they tried to do with interstate crosscheck is they tried to fix an issue that was not happening. It was, oh my God, I get so mad about this shit. And you know why I get mad? Because Democrats and Republicans are stubborn about listening to it. I called up the NAACP chapter here in Pennsylvania and talked to the president of my state months ago. And I remember it was snowing. We were having a snowstorm, so it was in the winter. I'm telling her about the cross-check program. She was appalled. I could sense her clutching pearls over the phone. And she didn't know anything about it. I sent her a column that I wrote about it. I gave her information about Greg Palast. I linked her to the trailer of The Best Democracy Money Can Buy. And I never heard back from her. She was going to get in touch with me and tell me what to do and who to go to and how to bring this out. Not a word. It's a conspiracy on all levels, ladies and gentlemen. Totally. Now, I interrupted myself to the point where I got off track. I was saying Kat wanted to move the conversation along and really maybe, take Rivero to task on certain things like I just did right now. The example was the voting. Or maybe a chatter might say something that you kind of want to know where they're getting this information. Do having a conversation like that. He did not. It was me. I was the only one who was a pain in the ass on that damn chat yesterday, and I'm the moderator, for God's sakes. God's sake, excuse me. I was jumping in and putting in the Greg Palast link and explaining this, and I'm sick of hearing about statues, and I'm sick of hearing about Charlottesville, while Kat's there just exchanging recipes with Digital Diva. So I was all alone, once again, ladies and gentlemen, all alone. You're supposed to feel sorry for me at this point. All right, that's all. Lounging with Lisa. I got really wound up because that interstate crosscheck makes me sick. It makes me sick because it's a modern-day Jim Crow. Another thing they did, in African-American churches, they would have this Souls to the Polls Day where they would go vote after they had the church service. I really don't understand why African-Americans are so gung-ho to... Okay, I don't want to get off on a religious tangent. God forbid. They would go to the polling center after that. And so Greg Palast went along, and he's doing this documentary. Ladies and gentlemen, this was so disgusting. My mother, she couldn't believe it was true. I mean, she could believe it, but she's like, oh my God, is this true? You know how people do. They closed down all these polling stations because of that Voter Rights Act was gutted. Keep that in mind. These people were lined up. I'm going to say literally, I'm just trying to get a grip on my neighborhood, how far away things are. I bet you 3/10 of a mile long, or half a mile, some of these lines were. I'm not exaggerating. You can look at the movie, you can look at the trailer, you can, I think, view it for a very cost-effective price. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'd like to buy one for Rivero and send it to him because I called his show, I've emailed him, and all that. And I just, it's fine if you want to go on about the illegal situation. Hats off, have at it, Hoss, as Cenk Uygur says. I don't really care for Cenk, but I do like that saying. But we need to acknowledge the other thing that has been documented. These people that were purged off the voting list was simply because they had the same first and last name as somebody in another state. They did not compare social security numbers. They did not go by middle initial. They did not go by junior, senior, or whatever. One of the people was Willie freaking Nelson. He interviewed him on the show, on the movie, the documentary. It's disgusting, and we do not hear about it. Oh my God, I am so mad now. Okay, Lounging with Lisa, the video series that has me lounging, all coming at you, thoughts of the day. Please join together with me, drop your political identity, let's focus on issues, and please look into Interstate cross-check. Oh, one more thing. Here's the deal. Sometimes there are people on the list. Like, I lived in Houston, Texas for 10 years. When I moved back to Pennsylvania suddenly in 1993, I didn't bother to call the voting office or whoever I'd even call, the Secretary of State of Texas. I don't even know who I'd call, and say, oh yes, I moved home suddenly in April of 93. Could you remove me from the voting rolls? I didn't do it. Some people are simply on the list, but they're not voting twice. If they were, they'd be. Next time someone goes on about these people, they know for sure that people voted twice. Ask them in what federal prison you may visit this person. Because this is all very suspicious, ladies and gentlemen. Lounging with Lisa, the video series that has me lounging, getting mad while coming at you with thoughts of the day. Please join together with me, drop your political identity, and let's fight for everyone's right to vote.